Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about buy-to-let mortgages. Maybe you're thinking about buying a house and you're wondering what type of a mortgage you should get on that house. If it's an investment property, it very likely will be a buy-to-let mortgage. I'm going to be talking about interest rates, whether you should fix them, repayment versus interest only. So if you are going to buy a house as an investment, I would highly suggest watching this video until the end before you consider taking out a mortgage and certainly buying a house as a buy-to-let. So if you enjoy my videos, a lot of research goes into this, and I spend so much time preparing these and going into all the different rates and information and research. So please do me a massive favor and hit the like button. So firstly, what is a buy-to-let mortgage? Well, firstly, what's a mortgage? A mortgage is a loan against a house. So if you're buying a house, even if you're buying it to live in, let's say you want to buy a house and it's £300,000 house. Most people don't have £300,000 cash. So what they do is they put down a deposit of 10, 20, 30%, and then the rest they'll take out as a loan, a mortgage against the house. Now, if you're buying a house to live in, the mortgage will be a residential mortgage. And if you're getting a residential mortgage, the lender, the mortgage company, will want to know that you can afford to pay the mortgage. So they're going to want to know your salary, your earnings, how many children you have, because they need to know, well, hang on a minute, if you've got all these kids, maybe they're expensive to have, and they need to know that you can afford to pay back the mortgage. So getting a residential mortgage, usually you have to give a lot of forms, a lot of form filling out to give you financial criteria. A buy-to-let mortgage, very different. That's when you're getting a mortgage to buy a house, but it's not going to be a residential house that you're living in. It's going to be a house that you're buying to rent out. Hence why it's called a buy-to-let mortgage. Now, typically, buy-to-let mortgage, you're going to need a deposit of 25%. So if you're buying a house for £200,000, they're going to expect you to have £50,000 as a deposit, and then the mortgage companies will loan you 75% as a 75% loan to value buy-to-let mortgage. So do you need any experience of owning properties? Do you need to be making a particular amount of income in order to qualify for a buy-to-let mortgage? And the answer is no, not really. You can get a buy-to-let mortgage even if you don't have a residential mortgage, although it does help if you own a house to begin with, but I did not. My first house was a buy-to-let. You also don't need to be earning a great deal either. In fact, the interesting thing about a buy-to-let mortgage is the lender cares not about your income because you're not going to be paying the mortgage. The buy-to-let mortgage is going to effectively be paid by the tenants that live in your buy-to-let house. So the thing that they'll want to know is how much rent are the tenants going to be paying? That's the big thing that lenders will want to know. Even if you're only making £5,000–10,000 a year and your salary is really, really low, you will still very likely be able to qualify for a buy-to-let mortgage as long as the property is a decent house and they can see that the rent is going to be able to cover the interest payments. So what are the interest payments on buy-to-let mortgages? Generally speaking, they historically, if you've been watching my videos, I'll be saying maybe 3% or there and thereabouts. Now they have recently put interest rates up a little bit, so they're now the average buy-to-let mortgage is around about 4% interest. I have recently just refinanced a whole bunch of my houses, and I used a lender called the mortgage lender. That was the name of the mortgage lender. And I've fixed my interest rates for 5 years because I can see that interest rates are going up. Usually I'll fix them for 2 years, but at these times, because interest rates do seem to be rising, I fixed them for 5 years, and I've got a 25-year term mortgage, and I fixed them at 3.3%. So I'm very pleased with that, and that's fixed for 5 years. So that means that I'm going to be paying £260 a month, which is going to be my interest payments. But my rent on the house, this one, is £750. So my profit is thereabouts £500 a month. So even if interest rates went up in 5 years' time, if they go up, even if my rents don't go up, if the rent stays the same, but the interest rate after 5 years goes up, unless it goes up to 10%, I'm still going to be making money. I'm quite comfortable with that. I'm quite happy with that. Should you pay interest only or should you pay repayment? My general guidance, what I usually do is I pay interest only, which means that I'm not actually paying back the loan. I'm just maintaining the interest on the loan. And the reason I do that is because the extra cash flow that I'm making. If I'm making £500 a month profit from one house, I'm going to save that money. I'm going to get it into a little pot, and then I'm going to buy another house. And that house is going to pay me £500 a month. And then I'm going to save that, and I'm going to snowball my portfolio, and I'm going to use the bank's money, because if I'm paying down the mortgage, I'm not making any monthly cash flow. So my general strategy is to pay as little back as possible, because your debt will shrink over time. As the value of the house goes up, which it probably will, as the rent goes up, which it probably will, but the debt stays the same, money shrinks in value over time. Money becomes worth less over time as they print more and more money and as inflation goes up. So I'm not wanting to rush to pay off my mortgage. My granddad bought a house many years ago for £3,000. He put down a £1,000 deposit and he had a £2,000 mortgage. He spent 10 years slaving away paying off that £2,000 mortgage. My goodness, he'd have been better to just leave that mortgage, and then after 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, the £2,000 is nothing, because inflation goes up and money becomes worth less. So my attitude is debt shrinks over time, so don't rush to pay it off. Are interest rates going to go up? Yes, I think they will. I don't think they're going to go up absolutely scary or anything crazy, but I do think we're going to see significant rises. So I would probably suggest that you fix them for as long as possible. And last question is, should you use a mortgage broker? My general guidance is yes, because there's so many mortgages out there. Just because I use the mortgage lender doesn't mean that they'll be best for you. Because every person is an individual with different finances, different ability to pay different things. Maybe there are some lenders that might be stricter on you or you or you. So what you want is you want to go to a mortgage broker or a mortgage advisor, and you want to tell them your situation, tell them what you're wanting to do, get actual advice, and let them independently look at the whole of the market and give you the best mortgage offer with the best rate specifically for you. Yes, you're going to pay them a few £100s for doing it, but you'll save a lot more in the long run, in my opinion. Hope that's been helpful. As I mentioned, smash the like button if you found it helpful, drop a comment, and I'll see you next time.